Now, Jerusalem is on high alert ahead of the Israeli flag march that is set to take place today. The march sparked warnings of a new escalation from Palestinians in the region. The annual march celebrates the city's unification following the capture of East Jerusalem in 1967. Ahead of the march, violence is now being reported at the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound. Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett convened a special cabinet meeting. It was held to mark Jerusalem Day.
היום אנחנו נציין את יום ירושלים ובמהלך היום יתקיימו שלל אירועים, בכללם מצעד הדגלים המסורתי שיערך במסלול הקבוע. הנפת דגל ישראל בבירת ישראל היא דבר מובן מאליו, ולכן היינו בהירים וברורים בנושא מהרגע הראשון. אני מבקש מהמשתתפים לחגוג בצורה אחראית ומכובדת.
Israeli police force has released videos of crowds rioting and pelting stones. According to reports, a small group of rioters have barricaded themselves inside the mosque. The gathered crowd is hurling large rocks at the Israeli police stationed outside. Authorities have confirmed that the police are at the site and are trying to bring the situation under control. The rioting started shortly after the morning prayers. According to reports, the rest of the areas remain calm. Earlier, Israeli security forces had warned that rioters may barricade the mosque ahead of the march, and earlier in the week, Palestinian Islamist movement Hamas had categorically warned against the march passing through the mosque compound, adding that it would use the opportunity to confront the marchers. Ghazi Hamad, a member of the Islamist group's political bureau, said that they will not hesitate to use all means to stop the incursion of their holy places, and called on Palestinians to gather at the mosque to disrupt the march. However, different factions in Palestine are yet to decide how they want to tackle the march. Smaller factions are favoring the use of rockets. Hamas, on the other hand, is not in favor of firing rockets to shake the march. The marchers are expected to enter the Old City via Damascus Gate before making their way to the Western Wall. The gate is heavily used by Palestinians. However, Israeli authorities have not approved requests to enter the Al-Aqsa compound. Historically, the path of the march has never included Al-Aqsa Mosque. The Israeli flag march threatens to worsen weeks of tensions between Israelis and Palestinians. Around 3,000 policemen are set to be deployed ahead of the march to prevent the situation from getting out of control. Last year, the clashes surrounding the march led to an 11-day conflict after Hamas fired rockets at Israel. The war cost the lives of 260 Palestinians, including 66 children, while 14 people were killed in Israel, including one child. Now, for more on this, our correspondent Jodie Cohen is joining us live from Jerusalem. Hello to you, Jodie. We earlier heard Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, who convened a special cabinet meeting marking Jerusalem Day. What are the big takeaways from that meeting?
Yes, Alison. Hi. So they had the cabinet meeting and Naftali Bennett gave a statement at the meeting in which he talks about everyone having pride in Jerusalem, flying the flag proudly across Jerusalem, yet making sure that this is a peaceful and responsible and respectful parade. He also announced a 5-year plan for the city in which he talked about 1 billion shekels being invested in Jerusalem's development in things like the economy, in tourism, the roads infrastructure, energy and employment and academia. The flag parade is due to start in a few hours. And you can hear the music behind me. People are starting to arrive. I'm at the intersection between Old and New Jerusalem, in the corner between the New City and the Old City. And the parade will be walking down Jaffa Street in the New City and heading towards the Damascus Gate and the Jaffa Gate in the Old City. Now, the parade is not going to be going on the Al-Aqsa compound. That's the Israeli government and the Israeli police have been very clear about that, even though Hamas and the Palestinian Authority have been saying to people that they are going to be going onto the Al-Aqsa compound. The parade will be going in the areas where anybody, including Jews, can walk unrestricted in the city. They'll be going through the Muslim Quarter, through the New City, through the Old City to the Western Wall, and ending with singing and dancing there.
Right, and Jodie, earlier we saw rioting that started shortly after the morning prayers. What is the situation at the moment?
So compared to last year, actually, it has been, thank goodness, a lot more peaceful. There were some rioters who were throwing stones at police. There have been scuffles. There's been about 21 people arrested. There were a small group of Jewish visitors who took out small Israeli flags and they were immediately stopped by the police. I've heard reports, unconfirmed as yet, that potentially Hamas has sent over some arson balloons across the border. I've also heard some reports about some youths in Haifa, which is a community in the north of Israel, which has a large Jewish and Arab population. Some reports of some youths there who've thrown stones at a car that was playing Jewish music. But compared to last year, we haven't seen rockets, we haven't seen sirens, thank goodness. That could change. There's still, the evening is young, but hopefully we'll see a continuous peaceful parade.
Absolutely, Jodie. Thank you very much for bringing us all the latest details out of Jerusalem.
WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.